just going to start this out by saying all we have is us. All we have is us. Black people are not the problem with this country. Black people are the recipients of the problem with this country, okay? And their behavior. All right, black people in total, 88% of African Americans voted for Kamala Harris. All the stuff they're giving you about black men is that and the other because they think the few celebrities they put in our face saying they're voting for Trump and who've been paid to do that, that somehow that was going to coerce the rest of us to do that. Black people not only gave 88% of their vote to Kamala Harris in the Democratic Party, but while nearly 2,000 places, polling places, had bomb threats, and they were disproportionately in African American neighborhoods. It doesn't matter to me whether they came from Russia or whether they were coming from just basic Joe Schmoes down the way. It was targeted, and black people still stood in them lines and endured that shit. Now, what I will say, I don't want to hear this bullshit because I heard this bullshit at work with these white men. Well, it was her campaign. I mean, do you really think she would have won or even made it this far without that? What fucking difference does that make? What do you mean the campaign she ran, the one she had fucking 107 days to pull off? Because Joe Biden's white ass couldn't humble himself enough to fucking step down, and the Democrats who didn't say shit and who have the power to do every fucking thing else. And that's why they go on their knees begging for forgiveness and just kissing ass or trying to run the Senate. Fuck that shit. When Jasmine Crockett said, I've been in those meetings, and everybody kept saying, well, it can't be her, it can't be her. Since when ain't it the vice president when there's an issue? They don't like black people telling them what to do, and they don't like black women telling them damn sure what to do. And it was a double whammy. And if y'all think all is going around, she ain't really black, she ain't really this, note her treatment, okay? Okay. And I don't give a fuck about no Barack Obama. He was late on that train on purpose because he wants to be the only one. Hillary Clinton wasn't the nominee or what people chose either. People chose Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders won New York, then all of a sudden the DNC switches the votes and says, no, it's going to Hillary, it's going to Hillary. They stole that, and America gave them their ass to kiss, but she's still a white woman. So white women voted like 55% for Trump back when she was running. And this is just giving, when I heard them white men, and trust me, I did say something today, because I'm not in the mood for the fuck shit. But what I'm not going to do is play like this isn't about anti-blackness. Shall we go through the numbers? I'll do it quickly. Just know 57% of college-educated women, college-educated white women, voted for Donald Trump. Because white women's voting patterns have always aligned with white men. They don't want no black woman telling them what to do either. This election was based on strictly feelings. People thought, oh, Kamala don't have no policies. $25,000 for a first-time home buyer. First-time home buyer, you know what constitutes one of those? Anybody who has not owned a home in 3 fucking years. You talking about $8 bags of Doritos and Oreos, I get it. I get it. But do you really think the person that is committed to obliterating Palestine is going to then switch that money to make sure you have it in your pocket? He didn't do that shit the first time. He told y'all to kill yourself with Fabuloso. Not kill yourself, but you'll cure yourself. I guess through death. He's a businessman. No, the fuck he isn't. He ain't never worked a real fucking job in his fucking life. He is the king of white supremacy and white privilege. A Nepo baby. And y'all up here believing this man's lies over and over again. So here we go. 2024. All right? Compared to 2020. Let's break it down here. All right. In 2020, 45% of men voted for Biden. This is across races. I'll get down to the races in a second. In 2024, 44% of men voted for Harris. About the same, right? Don't worry. In 2020, 57% of women voted for Joe Biden. In 2024, 54% voted for Harris. Seems kind of like the same, doesn't it? And she lost the popular vote. We're talking about the popular vote from 2020 to 2024, 15.5 million difference. Hillary Clinton only lost by 3 votes. This is about whiteness and maintaining whiteness in power. White people, here we go. 43% voted for Harris, 55% overall for Trump. Black people, 86% for Harris and 12% for Trump. We not the problem here. But everybody else knows, including those Latinos, that when he's making all of these claims, he has no problem. Donald Trump has no problem being openly racist, and neither does J.D. Vance. They know that when he's going hard like that, it's for us. And they're like, well, after he talked so poorly about Latinos and this, that, and the other, he supported somebody, had somebody at his rally who called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. You know what many of them said? Oh, he wasn't talking about us. The Dominicans, the white Cubans in Florida. He's not talking about us. This is based on interviews journalists were doing. See, they still have the privilege of, one, believing they can assimilate into whiteness, and they probably will, because many of them look white and they act white too. But just like when they were accusing the Haitians of eating cats and dogs, how the rest of us as African Americans knew, despite any diaspora wars and issues we have, we knew that was because they were black immigrants, racially black immigrants. And because the Haitians were the first ones to free themselves from slavery, they're still punishing them for that. We understood that you're attacking them, but you're attacking us too. The Latinos don't operate like, they'll do the Latino stuff, you know, when it's kind of like when something happens to them. But for the most part, they feel like he's talking to us, or he's talking to those Latinos. He want to round up 20 million immigrants who may have had a child here, who's grown up here, is going to school here, and it's like, oh, your mother can go and you can stay, or y'all both can go. That's not a real choice. But see, they get over here and they're so busy acting like they're better than black people and going along with this sort of rhetoric that allows them to feel superior to black people. The same thing with poor white people voting against their interests, because it's the psychological wage that W.B. Du Bois wrote about back in 1935 in Black Reconstruction in America. He called it the psychological wage of whiteness. He was like, it has never been economically beneficial for poor whites, or the majority of whites in this country, to side with slavery. Slavery was very much a capitalist system. That's how this country got rich, on capitalism. They didn't have to pay slaves. White people were not being hired for jobs disproportionately in the South because they had slaves. Why the fuck would I pay your white ass if I can have slaves do it for free? And they stick out, which means when they run away, we can catch them. We know who they're supposed to be, which has a lot to do with why they switched, well, Nathaniel Bacon's rebellion, switching from indentured servitude to enslavement. And these things are still with us. Okay? So 2024, we got that right. Hispanic, Latino vote. 53% Harris, 45% Trump. And forget floating island of garbage. Let's just go against that. The Hispanic and the Latinos, and that's all in being lumped together, 45 of them voted for somebody who wants to round up, 45%, who wants to round them up, all 20 million, and let people not come in this country from their end of the border. You know they don't give a fuck about Canada. Asians, 56% Harris, 38% Trump. I wasn't expecting that from them. But, okay? So now let's move on to 2024. Here we keep going. White men, 39% Harris. Didn't see that one coming. 59% Trump. White women, 47% Harris, 52% Trump. We haven't even gotten to the educational breakdown. Black men, 78% Harris, 20% Trump. Black women showed up again and again, 92% Harris, 7% Trump, and then it's like other. Latino men, 44% Harris, the other 54% Trump. Latino women, 61% Harris, 37% Trump. Now consider this. When we talk about the Latino vote, and we talk about black men and women. In 2020, 90% of black women voted Biden, 92% voted Harris this time. In 2020, 79% of black men voted for Biden. 78% of black men voted for Harris. Okay, let's see how that's roughly the same. You know, a little tidbit there. 19% in 2020 voted for Trump, black men. 20% voted for Trump in 2024. Stay with me because I'm about to blow your mind with this. All right? So, Latino men voted 59% Biden in 2020. 2024, Latino men 44% Harris. Latino men in 2020, 36% Trump. Latino men in 2024, 54% Trump. Think about how he was talking about them. Latino women in 2020, 69% went with Biden. Latino women in 2024, 61% Harris. Latino women in 2020, 30% of them voted for Trump. Latino women 2024, 37% Trump. Do you notice that even how we could tell moving in the senile white man would still get these people's votes? Somebody was like, well, I think Biden would have done worse. No, he wouldn't have. Because this is based on whiteness and the culture of America. Everybody who comes to America and immigrates here decides and knows or believes that they can assimilate into whiteness based on how they treat black people. And God forbid we get somebody who looks like us, and progress, real or imagined, in white people's mind is what stimulates white rage. Okay? That book, I want to say Carol Boyce's at Emory, when she talked about white rage. She was like, the thing that stimulates white rage is always the idea of black progress. We knew this was going to be a mess whether they won or lost. Because now they know they are free to do it. Project 2025 is real. They didn't even try to hide that shit behind the paywall. The Heritage Foundation put that up. They wanted you to know. This is the first time people are like, oh, we made it through the first time. No. The presidency had guardrails the first time, and he was out of order. There are literally no guardrails. The Supreme Court has said that when a president does it, he has complete immunity from the law. When Nixon said when the president doesn't do it, it's illegal, and he had to fucking step down, and they had all his shit with Watergate. And whether I like his policies or not, he was a whole hell of a lot more qualified than somebody like fucking Donald Trump, who ain't never been successful as shit. Y'all let this man win. Don't come asking the black community to be a part of none of y'all's fucking movements, because the shit that happens to us, y'all don't give a damn about. I ain't got it for you. All we got is us, and y'all not like us. And that's all I got to say. Please be sure to drop your comments down below. Feel free to express yourself. I just ask that people, be respectful and that kind of thing. But debate is healthy for what's left of a semi-democracy, because it was never a democracy. It was always based on slavery. Black people didn't have the right to vote, but they were used to count toward the population, the 3/5 compromise. Like, I can't. I had to go to school today and deal with the outgrowth of this shit. I had to go to school today and deal with these white men looking to blame this black woman, and I'm triggered, and I think I've actually done well on this video. All right, I'm gonna pray for us, and God bless you. All right.